Today we're going to talk about the benefits of a ketogenic diet, really in comparison to the carnivore diet, the snake diet, the lion diet, fasting, and low carb, high fat. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone to my very humble life. Now let's get right on into the benefits of a ketogenic diet, and then I'm going to do the comparisons because it's kind of all the same. Well, the benefits of a ketogenic diet is that you have sustained energy. That is because your body's no longer looking for glycogen storage, which is in the muscle. No, because when you eat carbs, you always got to keep that nice and full. If you are active and a very active person, or even if you're inactive and you're doing stuff, even brain power, you're going to keep those reserves or gas tank full from carbohydrates like whatever, starches, rice, potato, grain, sweet, sugar, whatever. But the problem is that all those foods would not be normal in nature, and they spike your blood sugar up really high. Your body can handle about 5 grams of carbohydrate when it comes to insulin regulation. When you start processing that grain or potato, now you're going to need even more amounts of insulin to keep that blood sugar in check. Because there's like a spillover point. Your glycogen is stored to a certain amount, and then the rest gets stored. But that's only really if you've got good GLUT4 receptor development, then you can actually uptake glucose without insulin. But that's a whole nother video, right? That's why people who are fit can manage their crazy blood sugar if their life isn't too crazy. The benefits of a ketogenic diet is that you're not going to crash. You're going to be stable. Because you see, when you use carbs as energy, it's like paper. It'll burn really high, really fast, and then burn out. And then you have to put another piece of paper in, because if you don't, and then that paper burns out, because paper burns so fast, your metabolism takes a hit, especially if you're very active. So you're continuously having to feed and stoke that fire. Well, that's no good if you've got hypoglycemia or insulin resistance, blood sugar dysregulation. So being ketotic, which is the state of being in ketosis, where your body learns how to access the body fat as fuel, of course in the dietary fat, and that is slow burning. That's like putting big chunky logs onto a fireplace to heat a house, and they could just walk out the door and be gone for 4 or 5 hours without worrying about the flame going out, which is your metabolism, which is why so many of you have problems gaining too much weight or losing weight, because you become a storage vesicle for storing fat because you can't regulate your blood sugar. So what are the things that make your blood sugar go bonkers? Too much protein, which is what a lot of you guys do on this whole carnivore thing. You're eating so much protein, and then of course you've got low stomach acid, hypochlorhydria, you've got problems with B12, iron. You're overloading yourself with protein because certain gurus are saying to prime and eat as much protein as possible, which is just junk science. And so many people are desperate, they start doing this and they start feeling sick. Yeah, there's a lot of equipment that you need to process that protein. So we can only use a finite amount before it starts just turning back into glucose or protein byproducts getting stuck certain places. I digress. Coffee. That's another thing that people are pushing on ketogenic carnivore diets. Coffee, which I've done several videos on how it's just poison and it robs your body of magnesium and zinc and iron and tyrosine and puts adrenaline on your adenosine receptors and mold and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. You can't get into ketosis if you're drinking coffee because it makes your blood sugar bounce like a ball. I know. And then there's poor sleep. That's another one. That's a huge one. So we got eating too much protein, drinking coffee, poor sleep, stressing out, histamine intolerance. Histamine. If you're reactive to food, it can make your blood sugar spike. Not eating to a circadian rhythm. Fasting, that really makes your blood sugar bounce like freaking crazy and actually get you to store fat very efficiently while people try to fast to lose weight. But no one talks about that stuff. Then there's just not enough fat. You need that substrate to signal the brain to develop enzymes to break down the fat, the enzymatic responses to make ketones in the liver. And you need a high functioning gallbladder. You will notice that your blood sugar bounces. But weird stuff is like supplements, medications. A lot of pharmacological interventions make your blood sugar skyrocket. People don't know this. But there's other things like working out too late, going to bed too late, exercising too late, not exercising at all, xenoestrogens like crappy water. There are so many different things. Chemicals around your house, Wi-Fi, microwaves, plastic, clothing, preservatives, pesticides, corn-fed foods, falling off the wagon. There's a lot. So this is how people's blood sugar bounces. But let's talk about when you get all of that stuff in check, the benefits, right? Like I mentioned, sustained energy. Mental cognition is through the roof. Your memory is ridiculous. You're going to get nice fat in the dermis layers of the skin. So me at almost 58 is benefiting from all that fat. Because I remember, if you guys check out my earlier videos or when I was younger, I was dried out like a prune. And that ages you. It really does. I mean, you may not get the fine wrinkles when you have brown skin, but you get like saggy jowls and a sagginess to your face. And this fasting eats up like the skin under your neck and the triceps and the belly and makes everything just hang in dark circles under the eyes. I forgot to mention blood sugar bounces when you don't get your electrolytes in balance. But if you get all of that stuff in balance, then you have sustained energy. You're strong at the gym. And the uptake of protein, let's go into that. Building muscle, I mean, let's count the ways. Insulin sensitivity, because you're in ketosis, now you have the perfect clean driver of amino acids into the muscle cell so they'll grow. And then the mitochondria within the muscle cell becomes super powered and you burn fat and you're strong. And then your body releases GH when you sleep. And everything just repairs and your immune system goes through the roof and your reproductive hormonal system is like amazing because I'm post-menopause now at 57 going on 58, but I'm not gaining more fat because I'm balancing out my estrogen because my testosterone production is still going because of the cholesterol. I know. Way better than low carb, high fat. Now, you can be healthy and okay on low carb, high fat. Absolutely. But we're living in the modern time. This would not be the seasonal eating of our hunter-gatherers with no toxins and heavy metals and plastics, all this stuff. So to kind of mitigate all of the trash that we are exposed to, ketogenesis is a great detoxification, sort of giving you that autophagy without having to go through fasting, which puts you into this hyper state of gluconeogenesis, especially if you cannot contain your stress. Being in ketosis is something it's indescribable unless you get into it. To not crash, to have lit brain, sustained energy, grow muscle, get lean, anti-age, regulate the nasty dysbiotic gut, because now you're not feeding it with glucose or feeding cancer, because now you've gotten your blood sugar in that very tight sweet spot range. And ketones are like, mwah. Ketones are anti-aging, they're anti-cancer, but it's hard to get into ketosis, and that's the caveat. It's not for the faint at heart. It's for the people who are warriors, who are disciplined, or the people fed up and they're just ready to change their life. Carnivore, so we got the low carb, high fat, you're still starch dependent. On low carb, high fat, you're still eating rice, potatoes, rooted vegetables, sweeter vegetables. You still have to worry about crashing. You still have to worry about feeding a fireplace or wood stove with paper. So if you have hypoglycemia, dysglycemia, low carb, high fat really isn't amazing. I only recommend that for the short term if you have a gallbladder issue. For those who want variety, I mean, you could always do low carb, high fat, but warriors want to be healthy. Carnivore diet is riddled with problems. So if you're going to have to choose between keto and carnivore, they're almost the same diet, except one has plants, one doesn't. Now, if you have such a mast cell activation problem with plants, then fix that problem with the gut and the heavy metals and the parasites and the malnutrition. And then you don't have to worry about mast cell activation. No, you don't. And eat the foods high in diamine oxidase like thymus or kidney. You could do things like colostrum. Wait down the line for probiotics, prebiotic fibers. Carnivore's missing a lot of those things like prebiotic fiber. Not going to happen. Electrolytes, very, 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 very hard to get enough potassium in. Most people don't eat organ meats, which if you ever do a strict carnivore diet and try to use like anything that's a matrix for fiber, you have to eat organ meats, which all these people that I consult who do carnivore are not eating liver and kidney and heart and thymus. These are the organs that you need, chock full of vitamin C for the thyroid, vitamin D, A, K, K2. People are like, if you're going to take magnesium, you're going to need K2. And vitamin D, K2, yes, but liver will handle that load of minerals that you need, or oysters or oyster extract. But, when I say organ meats, I mean real organ meats. Yes, the move or the meh or the fish. There's a lot of moving parts, but keto wins because you get that prebiotic fiber, you get the potassium through certain foods much more than just the meat, because you're still eating the meat and you're eating the same amount of meat on carnivore. So why not add the prebiotic fiber and add in some of these minerals that you need to sustain health by being ketotic? And if you have a gallbladder issue, you're going to have a gallbladder issue on keto and carnivore, because if you're eating lean meats on carnivore, you are destined to fail. I know. So you might as well just go back to carbs. If you're not eating fatty meats, know what your blood sugar status is, know your A1C, your insulin. Or you could do a daily glucometer check of your blood sugar to understand what's going on with the internal body, because blood sugar always spikes when you're stressed out, when you're inflamed or having histamine reactions, when you have leaky gut or infertility, all kind of immune stress to the body. But for me, keto is the best way to go. My gallbladder is perfect, so why would I do carnivore? It doesn't make any sense. I get to have more foods that have more nutrients in them and also have different bacteria profiles instead of just eating ground beef and ribeyes all the time. And people become very zealot about it. They like protect it because they felt better in the beginning. But that's what happened with veganism. Look at vegan people and how they talk about it, and look at some of the people who talk about carnivore. They act the same. Now, I coach all three. You don't have to do keto at all. In fact, some people can't because their gallbladder is so jacked up. I'm just saying the benefits are very awesome. You definitely have to choose what works best for you, but know what works best for you. A lot of people don't know. Even the ones who think they know still don't know. There's a lot of little tiny moving parts with the gut, with the gallbladder, with the histamine, with the heavy metals, the parasites. I need to do another video on parasites because we're overloaded. Oh, but really? The chemicals in the garbage and what they feed the animals, and then what is in our air and water and the plastics and the heavy metals from cars. Yeah. Learn how to detox. Sometimes detoxing is hugging a tree, drinking clean water, following a circadian rhythm. Like the dumbest things can help balance and detox the body. But that coffee, that cheese, them nuts, that fasting, oh, fasting is the quickest way to completely destroying your health, because the whole autophagy thing is immeasurable. You can't measure it very well. In fact, they don't know how to measure it. And then I'm watching all these people develop crepey skin and dark circles under their eyes and dehydration trying to fast, reaching some mythological creature called autophagy. Where apparently, in theory, you're supposed to experience that by being in a state of ketosis, being ketotic. And it's hard. It takes a while. It can take months. But once you're in, you're in. And if you eat some sugar, you can pop out very quickly. If you drink alcohol, you can pop out very quickly. And the more you pop out, the harder it is to get back in. And you can't go back and forth. You can't do carnivore one day. Not carnivore. Carbs one day. And then keto the next day and be in ketosis, because you're not. You can make ketones, but you won't use them. Not effectively. It's a whole thing. Watch some of these videos over the years. They go heavily into the benefits of a ketogenic diet if you feel like you need more information, or just health in general. My Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. And I'm going to start doing some lifestyle videos. I got enough content to fill a bunch of hard drives. Because life is more than just the diet. It's the lifestyle and the way you think. Because the mind is so closely connected to the body. And that's why I, at 57, going on 58, try to keep myself sort of Peter Pan-ish, if you know what I mean. We're going to age. But you can age gracefully. You don't have to fall apart with all this disease. Comment below. Are you struggling with a ketogenic diet? Are you thinking back to go to carbs? Don't go to carnivore. No. If you're going to stop doing keto, just go back to carbs. And do carbs that are good. Good. That's subjective, right? Rooted vegetables, sweet potato, parsnip, small red potatoes, jasmine rice. High in starch, but you do small amounts. And that's when my experience with all these people can help those who need a consultation. How do I put this all together? If I want to do a strict carnivore diet, get that matrix in. If I'm going to do a ketogenic diet, how do I navigate through histamine intolerance to plants? What if I don't? What if I can't tolerate avocados, which are high in potassium? What else can I do? Comment below. Share this content. Don't forget to subscribe, because that's how people are finding me, because I've been around. I'm a dinosaur. I've been around forever. And I'm out. Because I got to go see my mom. Energy.